everyone, it's Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet what I'm calling the lovely ponytail headband. And the reason it's a ponytail headband is because it has a hole for your ponytail to go through worked right into the pattern. And if you don't want a ponytail, you've got a stretchy band here so it fits comfortably around your head. So whether you wear a ponytail or not, this is a great headband. And I love these stitches. By stitching what's called a 2 double crochet cluster in the same stitch, we stitch 2 of them with a chain 1 in between, it looks like a heart. And that's why I called it lovely. Now this headband is super easy to adjust to make it smaller or bigger, and I'll explain that to you when we get a little farther on in the video. But it'll work for any size head, from little heads to great big, super easy to adjust. Now you can find this free crochet pattern on my blog, and as always, that blog link is down in the notes underneath this video. To make your lovely ponytail headband, you're going to need about an ounce total of yarn, and we're working with medium weight number 4 yarns. You can use acrylic, cotton, wool, alpaca, whatever you have in your yarn stash. It only takes about an ounce to make one of these. This one is made with I Love This yarn. This one is made with a leftover Caron cake that had some beiges and browns in it that I really like. I'm going to be using this pink, this is Red Heart Super Saver that I have on hand, and I'm going to make a stripe of hearts, but I'm going to do 2 stripes. I'm going to do a white one, and then I'm going to do a lavender one also. That way it has a little bit of a spring look. You're going to need some ponytails, and that's what I call these. These are ponytail bands or hair bands. These are your basic ones that you buy at the store. And I like to get the ones that are ouchless so they don't have that metal in the back to worry about. I feel like they hold their stretch a lot better. And you'll need one of those for each headband. We're going to be stitching today with an eye hook, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need your scissors, and then you'll also need a needle for weaving in those ends. We're going to begin with our slip knot. And now we're going to stitch 28 single crochets around our elastic band. So we'll go through, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through both loops. When you're first starting this, it can be just a little bit clumsy, but you'll get the hang of it as you go. Around, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through both loops. So there's 2, 3, 4, 'I have stitched 28 single crochets around my elastic band. It might be a little bit of a tight fit, but you want to get them all on there. Now we're going to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch, and we're going to chain 3. Now once we finish, we'll come back in and weave this in. But for row 1, you have 28 single crochets, join to the first single crochet, and chain 3. Our chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet, and we're going to double crochet in the next 8 single crochets. So yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. So we have 2, All right, I believe this is the 8th double crochet. So we have 1 chain 3 and 8 double crochet, so we should have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oops, I need one more. We need a total of 9 double crochets, counting our chain 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, and now we're going to chain 3. And so for row 2, we have 9 double crochets, chain 3. So we've chained 3 and we're going to turn our work. This chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. We're going to skip the next double crochet, and then in this next one we're going to stitch those 2 double crochet clusters. All right, so yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Don't finish it yet. Yarn over, go in that same stitch and pull up a loop. Yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. And it will look like you have 2 unfinished double crochets. Yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to repeat that in the same stitch. So yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over and only go through the first 2. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over and only go through the first 2. Yarn over and go through all 3 loops. And see how that looks like a little heart? Chain 1, skip the next double crochet, and we'll repeat what we just did in the next stitch. There's 1, 2 double crochet cluster, chain 1, and we'll do that again. There's our second set of 2 double crochet clusters with that chain 1 in between. Chain 1, we'll skip the next double crochet and we'll do that again. So now it looks like we have 3 sets of hearts. Chain 1, we'll skip the next double crochet and double crochet in that last stitch. And chain 3. And that's the way that row 3 should look. Now it's going to look a little bit like it's curving out, and that's exactly what we want it to do. So for row 3, you have your chain 3, which counts as a double crochet. You have 3 sets of your 2 double crochet clusters with a chain 1 in between. Skip the next stitch and double crochet in the last stitch. Okay, let's do row 4. The chain 3 here counts as our first double crochet. So we'll turn our work. And what we're going to do is we're going to go straight to this chain 1 space between those 2 double crochet cluster sets. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch the same thing in the chain 1 space. So we'll stitch the 2 double crochet cluster, chain 1, and double crochet cluster, or 2 double crochet cluster. There we go, and chain 1. And we'll repeat that across, only stitching in the chain 1 spaces between our 2 double crochet cluster sets. So we have stitched 2 double crochet cluster, chain 1, 2 double crochet cluster in each of those 3 chain 1 spaces. And now we're going to stitch a double crochet in that last double crochet and chain 3. And see how that looks? We have our chain 3. We have 3 sets of our 2 double crochet cluster, chain 1, and 2 double crochet cluster in those 3 chain 1 spaces, and then we have a double crochet in the last stitch. So now what we're going to do is we're going to continue to repeat row 4 for 22 more rows. Now that's where you need to decide how long you want your headband. If you want your headband to be approximately 24 inches, you're going to need to repeat row 4 for 22 more rows. I do suggest that you measure as you go. Use your tape measure and just measure as you go to make sure it's going to fit. And the reason I suggest that is because some people stitch tighter than others, some stitch looser, and you want to measure to make sure it's going to fit the head that's going to wear it. If you're going according to my pattern, you're going to need to repeat row 4 22 more times. Let's go ahead and talk about how to change colors to add that little stripe of hearts if we want to. What you will do is before you do your chain 3, you'll bring in your next color. I'm going to bring in this lavender. Chain 3 and turn, and then you'll do exactly what we've been doing. You'll make those 2 double crochet clusters in each of those chain 1 spaces. Across. There we go. Now one more. And I like to add a little stripe in there because I think it helps the hearts kind of pop out so that you can see them. All right, so now I'm going to double crochet in my last double crochet. So there is my hearts. So you can see those 3 hearts with the chain 3 and double crochet at the end of the row. And if you're only doing 1 row, you can go ahead and cut your yarn and bring in another color. Like I want to bring in this white. And you would just repeat and do the same thing. Always when changing color, you want to do that chain 3 after the color change. That way, that is the right color. If I would have gone ahead and chained 3 of the purple, I would have 1 stitch in here that's the wrong color. So we don't want to do that. And then you just go ahead and go across just like we've been doing. Making your 2 double crochet clusters in each of the chain 1 spaces from the previous row. The only downside of changing colors is you will have to weave in these ends at the end. I have completed those additional 22 rows, and I added a row of white and a row of lavender. This is about the 17th and 18th row, I believe. I wanted them to be a little offset, not right in the center. Now it's a good idea to take your tape measure and to measure to make sure that that's going to be the length that you need for whoever's going to be wearing this headband. Once your headband is the length that you need, we chained 3 and turn. We're going to place a double crochet in that first chain 1. And now we're going to stitch a double crochet in the top of each of those 6 cluster stitches that we did. So right in the top we'll double crochet, and then we'll double crochet in that last stitch. And that's going to give us 9 double crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double crochet stitches, and then we'll just chain 1. So now it's time to attach this end of our headband to the stretchy band portion. All right, so what we're going to do is fold it up in half, and from where we started here, here's our stitch here, we're going to count up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we'll put our hook through on the next stitch, which would be the 6th. Show you again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to go in the next stitch. There we go. And we'll just pull our hoop through, or loop through, I mean, just so we know where to stitch. All right, so we're going to go in our first stitch, go in that 6th stitch, and stitch a slip stitch. Now we'll go in the next stitch, we'll go in the next stitch here, we'll pull that loop through, then pull that loop through the loop on our hook. That's a slip stitch. And we'll do that in these 9 double crochets. All right, now we're to our last stitch. There we go. Now we're going to cut our yarn. I'm going to give myself just a little bit more than I usually do because I want to have enough to make sure that that is secured tightly. All right, now we do have some ends to weave in, of course, but this one is very important because we don't want this end of our headband to come undone. There we go. And so we can open this up. And I'm going to make a couple of stitches like this just to make sure that's going to hold. And make sure you go through fibers and stitches, not holes. So I'm just going to go right through there, make a loop, keep going, just kind of loop it back and forth. Because again, this is going to get some wear and tear being put on and off your head and poking your ponytail through. So we want that to stay nice and secure. And so I'm just working with it until all the yarn is almost off my needle and clip. This is the back side of your headband where we made those slip stitches. So you want to flip your headband over so it looks nice and neat. And we do still need to weave this one in as well. And if you made some color changes, make sure you weave those in also. I've already tidied mine up, but I'm going to go ahead and do this side and do similar what I did on the other side, going back and forth. And I'm going to go inside and do that. And so I think these are lovely, just like the name says, with these cute little stitches that look like hearts. You can stripe them. You can use a striping yarn like this one, solids, whatever you've got in your yarn stash that's a medium weight number 4, and you can make one for every outfit. And remember, it has a ponytail in the back to poke that ponytail through for when you want to wear a ponytail.